I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Van kindsbeen af, met raad en saam, met lyding en hoop, verdriet en saam staan jy staan. Jy is altyd daar. Dit wat ons doen, ons liefdes, ons vreugdes, ons plekke, ons thuisdes, tot daar waar ons reis, jy is daar. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Al verander straatname, al word helde laat val, ons is steeds stuur ons adem, ons kultuur, ons verhaal, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Ons is daarmee gebore, die taal waarvoor ons staan, dit vloei deur ons are, ons kinders praat het saam, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, en Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir my mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Chris Wyatt Reports. Apologies again. Software from Streamlabs, I don't know what's going on with it, decided today that it wanted to crash after I got set up. Very frustrating, very annoying situation to deal with. And my apologies for keeping you waiting about 3 or 4 minutes. That was not by design. I was prepared, but my software is not. Anyway, welcome back to the program. This controversy that's manufactured, faux nonsense going on, continues in South Africa as it does around the world. The latest being the airport ambush of Member of Parliament Ronaldo Gous by someone named Mighty Jamie, who lists on his Twitter account that he is a law student. Yeah, he seems to have very poor grasp of the law, or he's just dishonest. I don't know. Is he just dishonest? Maybe that's what it's all about. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat, and we'll get started here. Mark Sayers is here. Pablo Charlie says, thumbs down to Mighty Jamie, but he's got 140,000 people that follow him. 150,000. Dylan Combrick, George is here. Welcome to you. Clive Streak. Garrett is back. Ulrich Fenter, Alan Kotze, Dylan says, Gabriel says, buonasera. Are you in the cantons where they speak Italian? Buonasera, Gabriel, instead of the German. Maybe I should do that, and assuming you speak German. Well, welcome back, folks. It's Wednesday. It's always my busy day, but this morning I woke up and had even more work to do. Courtesy of Mighty Jamie, who's busy out there doing hit pieces attacking Member of Parliament Ronald Hoos. You know, it's funny because if you watch his video, which I encourage you to do, even though it gives him more views, that's fine. If you watch his video, he talks about how he was fair and respectful. He was neither of those things. Also talks about how people get second chances. But much like Gate McKenzie, you talk about giving people second chances, you've already determined guilt. Otherwise, you wouldn't need a second chance. Ronaldo has done nothing wrong. This is altered video, and the people who've committed this crime are the ones that need to be dealt with. In fact, I'm the only commentator, the only journalist to this date who has said that the actions of the Independent Line in taking altered video, an edited video, and presenting it, they actually committed the offense that they accuse Ronaldo Hoos of. It is interesting beyond belief. Rob Hersoff spoke about center to right-wing parties merging on business. Didn't see him. Rob Hersoff, I was in touch with a couple years ago, was going to come on the program and then begged off right when he started, getting attention all over the place. I envy his billions. If he can throw me a couple million, I'd be happy about that. I'm happy to take a few million this way. Or if Rob wants to sponsor my channel, I'll consider that. But he's a bit of a strong cup of coffee there, to say the least. To wonder what he's really up to. What his plans are. Anyway, nothing wrong with Rob going out making his billions and then coming back to South Africa. Nothing wrong with that. Smee says, good evening, Dumalang and Sawabona. Hey, I see you, Sawabona. Yeah, remember that a couple years ago when the black supremacists came on my channel? This guy claims he speaks African languages. The only word he knows is Sawabona. Remember that? It's the only word in Zulu I know, and I freely admitted that. And I tell you why I know it, because it was the name of the in-flight magazine for South African Airways. And like most people who are curious, I wanted to know what it meant, so I looked it up. Gate McKenzie's doing a good job. I think Gate McKenzie's doing a mixed job. He gets a mixed review from me. His xenophobic behavior and his utterances at times leave much to be desired. However, he is taking action and doing things in the Ministry of Sports, Arts, and Culture, a ministry that shouldn't exist. Only in a socialist state do you have a ministry for running art. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We have the National Endowment for the Humanities, and that's a ridiculously funded thing that gives things so that people like Robert Mapplethorpe can make disgusting homoerotic imagery to insult Jesus. Unbelievable. No, there should be no such thing. Society should manage that on their own. They don't need governments to do that. Sports, arts, and culture. What a ridiculous notion. Only leftists and Europeans would come up with that horse shit, and Africans would try to emulate them. No, there should be no ministry for that. It's ridiculous. That's what private organizations are for. Right. Windows always has birds crashing in them. Dylan, that's a good line. Good evening, Val. Welcome to you. Mr. Obi-Wan Kenobi. May the force be with you. Okay. Vilma Erasmus. Hey, I missed you there. Sue Walsh, you as well. What if Rob ever did a day of national service? I don't think he did. But I don't have the answer for that for certain. Anyway, but not my place to question or criticize. But it is my place to question or criticize a number of things that need to be addressed and criticized that are in the public sphere. So in that vein, let me just, before I get to the news, just address this. Indulge me. I just went to the comments on my video that I did about Mighty Jamie's airport ambush on Ronaldo. And there was an interesting conversation going on here. Let me see if I can find it here. Where's it at? Or has it been deleted already? Let me look for newest. Okay. I think he's deleted it. Isn't that interesting? Once they get themselves in trouble, they delete things. Wow. It's gone. It's not here. The comment that someone just posted a few moments ago is gone. Was it the Mighty Jamie I was responding to? No, it wasn't that. Oh, it wasn't that. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong video. It was my live stream. That's it. I just remember now. Sorry, so many comments. I actually try to engage with my viewers. Not a lot of commentators do this. Most people say ignore the comments. Here it is. This is the one. This is the South Africa ignores suffering of black folks. Yeah, okay. All right, let me get to newest. Okay. All right, here he goes. Yeah, it's over here. So my apologies. This is from Africa Borwa Politicking. He published it 4 hours ago, and he said the following. Okay. He said, watch British sitcom, yes, Mr. Minister. Okay, it was filmed in the 70s, surprisingly relevant. Yeah, it is, yeah. Rob Hersoff just said after the election that MKA will be worse than the FF. Well, what? Was he wrong, wasn't he? No, he's not wrong, but what does that have to do with anything? I said that before the election. I said that when the party came about. Hey, Mike, how's it going? It's not germane to what we're talking about. It's kind of just, pulled out of left field there. Anyway, this is what this gentleman said. I assume it's a gentleman. What the heck are you talking about? South Africa literally deployed its soldiers to the Congo this year. They're not black. Well, South Africa's been in the Congo for 20 years, and they've accomplished nothing except running prostitution rings, getting South Africans killed, spreading HIV, selling their weapons. They've accomplished virtually nothing there in 20 years they've been there. So that's what I'm talking about. That's an informed position, not this clown. Well, they just went there this year. No, they've been there for 20 years. The Ethiopian peace talks were held in South Africa. They're not African. Well, the Ethiopian peace talks. What Ethiopian peace? 600,000 Tigrayans were slaughtered while this ANC did nothing. You don't get to come in after the fact, after the war's over and they've already got peace, and then claim that you have peace talks. South Africa and the African Union have been trying to have talks with Sudan. They were rejected. Instead, the Arab League was given the space because Sudan identifies as an Arab country. Well, I worked at the African Union, unlike this person who's spewing nonsense, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. Lastly, you, as American colonel, should know why South Africa would stand up for the Palestinians. Was your country not supporting the very system of South Africa you probably helped? LOL. I assume the system he's talking about is apartheid. And was America supporting apartheid? Yes and no. The United States worked with liberation movements tangentially, and it also cooperated with the South African government. And was I doing it? What are you, a fucking moron? What do you think, I'm 1,000 fucking years old? Wake up. Seriously? How old do you think I am? Apartheid ended in 1992. And democratic transition happened in 1994. But apartheid was dismantled from 1986 until 92, as laws were stricken off the books and freedom was restored to people. I wasn't in the Army in the 1960s during Sharpeville. I wasn't in the Army in 1976 during Soweto. I was in the U.S. Army in 1985 in Germany as an enlisted soldier fighting in the Cold War, but I had nothing to do with South Africa. What a dumbass comment. Typical bigotry. All right, so, and why are you pretending to care about a people that you don't care about? Last time I checked, the United States has foundational black Americans and how they're treated by your country. Does the U.S., Canada, Europe not have enough going on for you to dedicate a channel to? Well, that's a lot to unpack. Why don't I care? Why am I pretending to care about a people? Really? Do you know jack shit about me? Obviously you don't. You don't know that I've run HIV programs, established them across the continent, saving hundreds, thousands of lives, improving the quality of people who are suffering with CD4 counts. You don't know anything about the schools that I've built, the clinics I've run, the Ebola research program that I've done. When I worked as intelligence analyst writing an article for the President of the United States, it kept 640,000 black Africans from starving to death. And I don't care about? What are you, a fucking moron? Sorry for the profanity today, folks, but it's warranted. It's absolutely warranted. All right, and he says, last time I checked, the United States foundational black Americans. There's no such thing as a foundational black American. There were no black Americans here in the colonies until, although there were blacks in the Spanish who went through, but they didn't stay. They were transient. But no black Americans, no foundational black Americans, no such thing. Unless you're talking about the date of our independence in 1776, then yes, there were black Americans here. And many of them were enslaved, some were free. That's a statement of true. Is that what I mean? I mean, what is foundational? Am I a foundational American? My ancestors came to Jamestown in 1620. Does that make me a foundational American? I don't understand what the hell that means. Does U.S., Canada, and Europe not have enough for you to dedicate a channel to? Well, funny you should ask that, dipshit. I do have a channel. Dedicated to U.S. news and reports. But YouTube censors it. So idiots like you are too lazy to go find it. It's at Real Chris Wyatt. At Real Chris Wyatt. Over 20,000 subscribers. No views. And my content is hidden. The only people who go to my videos, are people who find it on social media when it's shared. No one sees it. Not a single person gets notified about that channel. 20,000 subscribers. So piss off. All right. Now, what else did he say? He said, you can assess your own country's military-industrial complex for one. The morons who say this are leftists. Military-industrial complex. No such thing exists. What do they think? There's a big factory complex in Houston, Texas, where all they do is sit around and form? No. What a bunch of idiots. What a bunch of idiots. The military-industrial complex. We can't even build our own military stuff. We rely on chips and motherboards from Japan and Taiwan to fly our advanced stealth fighters. We can't even produce this stuff anymore because we outsourced it. There's no fucking military-industrial complex. That's the dreams of leftists who make shit up in the military-industrial complex. I worked in a multi-billion-dollar acquisition program. No such thing as a military-industrial complex. What a joke. Do you know who we got resources from? Microsoft, Google, AT&T. Idiots. Alcatel in France. Samsung. Morons. You can talk about U.S. veterans finding themselves on the streets, being strung out on drugs and suffering PTSD. Okay. This person looks like they are a Tswana speaker. It says, Otleti Masepa. Okay. So I can talk about U.S. veterans finding themselves on the streets strung out on drugs. Well, that's horseshit and a fairy tale lie spread by the fake media. What veterans are on the streets begging for drugs and strung out? There is no reason whatsoever that any veteran in this country would be on the streets strung out for drugs, unless it was a conscious self-decision. Veterans Administration offers care for those people. It's available. And it's free for those who are suffering this as a consequence of their service. One simply needs to go take advantage of it. So this moron doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like the whole thing with homeless. You get all these people all the time who are frauds, fake stealing honor. They sit around with signs, they hold signs up and go, homeless veteran. They never served a day in their lives. And people give them money. And idiots like this moron believe they're bullshit. So someone responded defending me and said, you're deflecting using old-fashioned gaslighting, which is what the person was doing. I said, you have not spoken once in your long, useless diatribe about the human rights abuses Hamas has committed. Instead, you say, why is an American talking about South Africa while you mention American issues? Here's a man who is a specialist on the continent, served on the continent probably longer than you've been alive. He's an expert while you're an expert in gaslighting. Please, that old technique is old and played out. Well said there, Soul Rebel. I don't know who that is, but thank you. And then Soul Rebel, is Soul Rebel known by this Africa Buru politicking clown? He says, you're the last person to tell him about gaslighting techniques, you especially. For you, he's an expert because he used to be part of the American Army. What a joke. He brought up South Africa, I brought up America. If calling out an American government for ignoring their own veterans to do drugs on the street is called gaslighting, good. As in the good party. And since you care about human rights abuses, where was America was bombing Somali wedding parties? Where was your human rights when the U.S. was the first nation to ever bomb Doctors Without Borders? Where was your freaking human rights when American soldiers were caught recording their, I assume rape is what he's saying here. You're the last person to tell me about human rights, and this guy's the last person to come online and open his mouth about South Africa. He was stationed across the whole continent doing his master's bidding. Do not tell me American humanity. We have witnessed it for 400 years. You are the funniest one, the last one to tell me about humanity. Cannibalize yourselves for all I care, but keep South out of your mouth. Well, I said, this is funny. I said, you're very poorly informed. I've done more to improve the lives and save the lives of hundreds of thousands of Africans across the continent. I said, I'll assess whatever I damn well please. If it injures your worldview, go back to your corner and watch something else. As far as the U.S. shortcomings, all well and frequently addressed and documented in my coverage. And he says, have you have a channel dedicated to it? I said, yes, genius, I do. And I list it. I said, try listening next time. The ANC has accomplished nothing in the DRC, nothing in Sudan, nothing in Somalia, nothing in the Central African Republic, and very little in Cabo Delgado. And he says, I've got nothing. Who am I? Well, unlike him, I am a subject matter expert, and not because I was in the Army, but because of a multitude of reasons, and just here's a small sampling of them. Published author, university professor, undergraduate and postgraduate levels, journalist, radio host, polyglot, lived in 8 African countries, worked in over 30, ran HIV programs around the continent, Ebola research program, taught at African military institutions, did peacekeeping, hunted terrorists, built schools, clinics, roads, wells, HIV clinics. Yeah, shut up, moron. Anyway. And that's just scratching the surface. I mean, I could go on forever, but I made my point. And he said, we witnessed it for 400 years. And I said, well, damn, Moses, you really have seen it all. You're old. So that was from my thing last night. I'm actually surprised the leftists found that. I did that thing at 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't think anybody'd see that. Anyway, you got to love it. So what have you guys said while I was saying that? Wilma says, don't let them provoke you. That's why they do this. Your action. No, I'm fine with that. That's interaction, Wilma. It's just, it's great to destroy their nonsense. Look, I did that Biz News appearance and I got the same thing. People call me a mercenary. Are you serious? A mercenary? I don't work for any military. I'm not in Ukraine. I'm not a mercenary. What a comical thing. I'm a professional soldier and now retired and on the retired list. Yeah, no, I'm not provoked by it, Vilma. I just get a kick out of it. Mike wants to know what the difference between the Veterans of Foreign Wars and the American Legion is. Well, I can answer that question. It's interesting. Americans don't even know. The American Legion is an organization that any honorably discharged U.S. military veteran can join. It's a fraternal organization of men and women who, and don't come at me, you leftists, and go, then how's it fraternal if it's men and women? It's not fraternal/maternal. It's a fraternal, a brotherly organization for men and women who are veterans. Any American veteran can join it, honorably discharged. The Veterans of Foreign Wars are only comprised of U.S. military veterans who served in a conflict zone outside the United States territory. And there are exceptions. They allowed for people who served in the Army of Occupation in Berlin from 1945 until 1991 to get credit and also join the VFW. Those who served 30 or more consecutive days in Korea, because it's still in a state of war, even though it's no war there, those who served 30 consecutive days or more in Korea can join the VFW. But beyond that, you had to serve in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Vietnam, Grenada, World War II, Korea, the actual conflicts. So yeah, that's what you had to do. So that's the difference between the VFW and the American Legion. That restricts the number of people that can join us. But we have over 1.9 million combat veterans who have served in Iraq and Afghanistan and Colombia and Philippines in the past 20 years who could be joining the VFW or the Legion. Or you can join both. All right. Yeah, it didn't provoke me. I actually get a kick out of it. I was trying to read something over here. Okay. Oh, boy. All right, stop the nonsense. What's going on here between Pablo and Garrett and whoever else? Just stop arguing. It's a distraction, folks. It's worse than me reading the comments. Thought someone would like to know, my dad served in Combat Pacific but was a member of the American Legion. Well, he could have joined the VFW. Yep. Impressed when Sarah Cater and the vets went in Afghanistan to help get the people out. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was interesting. Watch Colin on Francois Fundamental of Bitter Enders in Russia. I don't know what that's about. Why am I watching that? Anyway, the video I did on Ronaldo is not going to keep pace with Mighty Jamie. He doesn't have many people on YouTube watch him, but he's got a lot of people that watch him elsewhere. So almost an hour since I published this, and it's got a few views. A lot further to go. So we'll see if it gets attention. That one, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of nasty comments because black supremacists will come over and tell me what I'm talking about and tell me I'm defending Ronaldo. That's not a defense of Ronaldo video if you watch it. One guy said that, Seamus said that he didn't like the video clips in that. I mean, where I put the movie and you can't handle the truth. Other people have told me they love that stuff. So, I mean, I go to a lot of effort to try to put that stuff in there to make the video more than just me sitting here in front of a microphone. Make it a little bit more interactive with prepared videos. So if people don't like that, my apologies. But most people have told me they like it, and that's why I've done it. So anyway, some people said they love me putting the intro in there by opening for news. Others don't like it. It's crazy. Well, folks, the passing of the first commander of the South African National Defense Force and the last commander of the South African Defense Force. South African Defense Force, South African National Defense Force after the transition to multi-party rule. General Georg Meiring has passed away. South Africa's first chief of the South African National Defense Force, General Georg Meiring, has passed. His family, through the South African Defense Force Association, said he died surrounded by his family Tuesday afternoon. He was the last chief of the apartheid-era SADF and became the first SANDF chief under former statesman Nelson Mandela. His career in the Army spanned 30 years, and he was the first chief from 94 to 98 when he resigned. After obtaining a Master of Science in Physics from the University of the Free State, he joined the Army as a signals officer in 1962, and in 1980 was appointed as Director of Signals. Between 82 and 83, he served as the Army's deputy chief. He became the chief of the Army in 1990 and appointed as the last chief from of the SADF from 93 to 94 when he became chief under the first Democratic-elected President Mandela. Helmut Remer-Heitmann told News 24 that Meiring was straight down the line soldier and technocrat. He came into the Defense Force understanding the modern technology. Played a pivotal role in the integration of SANDF in the 1990s when SADF, Umkhonto we Sizwe, and APLA were integrated into the Defense Force, as well as, let's not forget, folks, the Bantustan militaries as well. Heitmann said South Africans owe a great deal thanks to Meiring, along with former MK General Sipwe Nyanda, former Minister of Defense Joe Modise, and his deputy at the time, Ronnie Kasrils, and former SADF Chief General Kat Liebenberg for the successful integration of the SANDF. And whether you like the SANDF or not, that's a fair statement. All of those folks worked pretty well together to make that happen. Well, Cyril Ramaphosa is in China, and he's wooing the Chinese. Yes, that's right. He's wooing the Chinese. And some people, when I comment, and it's like, well, what's your problem with that? Well, it's an oppressive, totalitarian, fascist regime that has a president for life, not elections, that silences its critics, that arrests critics, that uses protectionism and violates trademark and copyright, and generally just does all kinds of evil things like harvest organs from living people called Uyghurs, who happen to be Muslim. Once again, where are all the people of color standing up for Muslims, for the Rohingya, for the Uyghurs, for the women oppressed in Afghanistan? No one. None of the leftists are saying anything. There's nothing from Harris. There's nothing from the ANC. So it leaves it up to conservatives like myself to stand up for those who are oppressed. Isn't that interesting? But of course, we conservatives have always stood up for the oppressed. It's just that the media's lied about us. But now they're not even standing up for the left, so they're not even pretending to care. But Ramaphosa is busy licking the boots of President for Life Xi Jinping. President Ramaphosa has invited Chinese business people, investors to enter South Africa in various sectors, assuring them that existing problems, particularly with visa regulations and rampant crime, are being addressed. He says easy visas and dramatic steps against crime. There are no dramatic steps against crime. We've seen no change whatsoever. Nothing has come. Nothing has been done. No resources have been deployed. We've seen nothing but palaver. Palaver, palaver, palaver. Talk. Yes, China does persecute its Christians even worse. That's correct. Palaver, palaver, palaver. Talk. Chile's gone, and we still have problems. Why? Because the ANC will not devote the resources to undermine the criminal syndicates that are part and parcel of their caters. Yeah, that's right, I said it. The criminal syndicates that are part and parcel of the cater system in South Africa. Yep, that's a fact, Jack. And if you don't like that, well, then you're not paying attention to what's going on. So Ramaphosa is wooing the Chi-Coms. But you can't blame him. I mean, that's where they're getting their money from, their resources. That's who's supporting them and their fellow travelers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, imagine this. A strange occurrence in the Free State with an ANC mayor who's committing fraud, or accused of it anyway. Let's take a look at what's happening in the Free State. Free State mayor's mystery 7,000-kilometer journey. The mayor of Eketoana, local municipality in the Free State, appears to have spent 100,000 Rand on a rental car in a single month. According to an invoice seen by Ground Up, Mayor Mamiki Mokwona traveled 6,943 kilometers between May 18th and June 18th this year in a rented Toyota 4Runner, or Fortuner. Now, I'm going to say, let's be fair, she traveled 6,943 kilometers in a month. She could have done that if she was out campaigning for an election, which of course would be illegal using government resources. So she's wrong on one level or another at some point. So let's just delve into this story a little bit deeper. According to an invoice seen by them, she traveled that far. The invoice from Ava suggested she was billed 64,893 Rand for rent on the car for the month. Now, records suggest that about 34,000 was spent on fuel on her card. Now, this follows, the reason for this is because two accidents in which the mayor's cars owned by the municipality were written off. In August of 2021, her BMW Series 4 was involved in an accident. Then she appears to have rented a car from August 2023, and a new Haval H9 was bought for her. According to a source in the municipality, 850,000 Rand was spent on the car hire in the time between August of 2021 and August 2023. Wow. The new car was involved in an accident in November 2023, and since then, the mayor has been renting a car again, first a Ford Everest and then a Fortuner. Now, this is where the story shows that something fishy is going on. Fuel transaction, for the records, do not seem to make sense. On May 18th of 2024, the car was filled with 67.1 liters of petrol. The odometer reading stood at 19,800 kilometers. It's kind of a rental car that's seen a lot of use, but not that much. 2 days later, on May 20th, the car was filled again with 53.9 liters of fuel, but the odometer was reading 19,900 kilometers, suggesting the car had been driven just 100 kilometers, yet she needed 54 liters of fuel. So she's getting less than 2 kilometers per liter, or is she stealing fuel? The records also show that on July 21st, the odometer was at 20,804 kilometers and 64.45 liters of fuel was put in the tank at a cost of $1,382. How much you want to bet that she's got jerry cans in the back of this vehicle and she's stealing fuel? You want to bet that? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Christo De Beer, I do believe that doing that, an altercation may violate the rules of conduct in an airport. You can check into it. You'll have to talk to Airports Company South Africa. I don't know the answer on that, though. Asked to comment on the mayor's advisor, Philippe Nkomo, said the municipality is working on buying her new car. Asked to explain expenses, he asked who supplied the information. He said, I wonder if this is just a personal vendetta, a plot against the mayor or to prove how corrupt she is. Well, I don't know about a personal vendetta, but the facts speak for themselves. If, in fact, these aren't altered certificates, these aren't altered documents or records from Avis, which would have no reason to alter the documents. I've rented cars from Avis hundreds of times in South Africa. Why would they do that? I found them to be a bit upfront. They're my preferred rental company. I tried that other one. They sucked. Anyway, but yeah. So I don't think it's a personal vendetta. It looks to me, maybe that's what prompted the investigation of personal vendetta. Kind of like what's going on with Mighty Jamie. He's got a personal vendetta. One of the biggest things that stands out about that, I'll just talk about that right now. One of the biggest things stands out about the airport ambush of Ronaldo Jose is that Mighty Jamie clearly has a grudge against Ronaldo, a grudge that he doesn't bother to tell the viewer that he has. The gentleman blocked Ronaldo on Twitter. Ronaldo can't comment or see him because he doesn't want to hear from Ronaldo because he can't hold an argument. And what is truly frightening about all of this, folks, is that Mighty Jamie on his Twitter account says that he's a law student. So this is someone's going to practice law? Someone this disingenuous? Someone this disconnected from reality? Someone that uses media for personal gain? That's sad. Yes, Pablo Charlie, I know he did it as a publicity stunt, but it has legal ramifications. And he posted online. I was one of the first people to see it. Yep. I looked him up and he had just posted 2 minutes before I put on there. I happened to go to his channel and that video, I'm like, boom. The reason I was going to do it is because I heard a rumor that Ronaldo had been accosted at the airport. Someone told me that. And I'm like, well, all right, I can't ask Ronaldo about it because he's kind of in a media blackout right now. So I went and looked this guy up. And sure enough, there was a video he just published. So once I saw he published a video, I can comment on his video. Instagram says he has an LLB. Well, if he has a law degree, that's truly scary. Yep, truly scary. Well, another body blow for the economic freedom fighters as they continue to lose people. Yep. Founding President Mpo Morolane dumps the party. Former EFF student command. Let me put these people on the battlefield and see how long they're in command. The little cowards will run. The first grenade that hits the ground, the first artillery round that goes off around them, the first bullet that whizzes past them, they'll run like little biatches. Student command. There's no command here. The economic freedom fighters have suffered another blow as its former student command president, Mpo Morolane, has announced that's a dude. I thought that was a woman. Honestly, I thought that was a woman with that hairstyle. That's a dude. He's leaving the Red Berets. He was a founding president of EFFSC, submitted his resignation letter to Marshall Dlamini today. In the letter, he was uploaded on his social media accounts. He pointed out that he decided to pursue a different path in his political career. And it's got tongues wagging on social media. So he's been with the party for a decade, and now he's leaving. Another high-level defection from MK, a party that is imploding because it is nothing but race hustling. That's all the EFF does. They are rabble-rousers. They're like the brown shirts. They're the ANC's brown shirts. Well, MK supporters are going to have to pay upwards of 20,000 Rand to listen to Floyd Shivambu. Is he going to tell them about the VBS Bank? No, highly unlikely. MK supporters and businesses to fork out 20,000 Rand to hear Shivambu speak in discouraged South Coast. MK supporters are going to pay up to 20,000. The event packages range from bronze at 2,000 Rand, silver at 5,000, gold at 10,000, platinum 15, and the main table seating where Shivambu will be seated at 20,000 Rand per head. Well, I can afford that 20,000 Rand. Should I go? Oh my goodness. The rally will be held at Ray Mkonyi, local municipality, which is set to hold a by-election. Well, there you go. So he's going to go speak. I swear I hear a helicopter. Black helicopters are coming for me. Transnet has a 26 billion Rand backlog. Ladies and gentlemen, that is well north of $1 billion US dollars. That's not good. About 1.2, 1.3 billion US dollars of maintenance that it can't get done. No wonder, because they're ripping up the cables, they're ripping up the rails, they're pilfering the carriages. Wow, poor asset control. Transnet continues to struggle with its maintenance backlog and poor asset management controls. There was a maintenance backlog of over 6 billion Rand in the year, and March 24th. That's an accumulated now backlog of 26 billion Rand. Wow. But they say they're seeing some improvement. Really? I've seen the rails in Northwest Province. They're gone. They're just gone. All the lines are ripped out. There's nothing there. No trains are flowing. Well, a grave concern for the African National Congress Youth League, which rears its ugly, xenophobic, anti-African face. ANC Youth League President Colin Malachi is set to work with law enforcement and the Department of Home Affairs to clamp down on the employment of illegal foreigners, hijack buildings, construction mafias, and drug lords. What the hell does the ANC Youth League have to do with working with government? This is government interference. This clown has no business talking to the government about this issue. You can state your opinion. You can write op-eds. You can do videos. You can use social media. You can hold rallies, as long as they're authorized. You have a permit. You can do all that. But you have no business talking to government. You're not in government. You're in a rabble-rousing, brown shirt youth league that does nothing except cause chaos. Idiots. Speaking of idiots, extortionists are now putting lots of pressure on new housing developments in Cape Town. It's a frightening story here, and I'll tell you which housing developments they are, courtesy of News 24. Extortionists target Western Cape housing projects worth more than 400 million Rand. Incidents of extortion targeting housing projects are leading to delays of up to 3 years in supplying housing. Wow. Infrastructure MEC Tertius Simmers from the DA confirmed 6 sites have been targeted. So, they are Drift Sands Relocations Project Site A. That project is 21.4 million Rand. 6-week delay. Airport infills, 248 million Rand. 19-week delay. Management, maintenance, and security of temporary relocation in Delft South, 12 million Rand. The Fall Park Primary School, 3 million Rand, delayed by 3 years. Ravensmead Community Day Center, 105 million Rand, delayed 6 months. And while Clark Primary School project is worth $386,000, has been delayed for 3 years. This project is earmarked to deliver a total of 1,300 housing opportunities. Most concerning is the fact that the beneficiaries include vulnerable groups such as the elderly residents, those living with disabilities, and those who have been in housing lists for many years. So the DA in the Western Cape is attempting to deliver housing, which the government is building, which I am diametrically opposed to, but that's what they're doing. And they are being delayed in this because of criminal syndicates that have been allowed to operate in South Africa, courtesy of failed governance, failed justice system, and failed SAPs, all run by the African National Congress. All run by them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's good to be the king. It's good to be the king. Count the money! Count the money! Count the money! Count the money. No, Dimone. It's good to be the king. Good to be the king. Well, the annual Reed dance is taking place, and this time, King Mswati III didn't pick a lovely, young, Swazi, bare-breasted maiden. Nope, he picked a Zuma bare-breasted maiden. Not so maiden. One of Zuma's daughters is now his wife. The engagement of Nomsibo Zuma, 21, she's actually quite old for the king, to King Mswati, confirmed at annual Umhlanga reed dance. The daughter of the former South African President Jacob Zuma, the king of Eswatini, formerly Swaziland, had become engaged during a traditional ceremony in which Nkompso Zuma was among hundreds of bare-breasted girls dancing for the monarch. He appeared Monday night at the annual reed dance as Lipovla, the royal fiancée or concubine, and will become his wife, 16th wife. 16th wife. Now, in that photograph, which is hard to see, she is the lady from third from left. Yep. The 56-year-old king has led Africa's last absent monarchy since taking power in 1986 after his 18th birthday and is criticized for lavish lifestyle while most of the country lives in abject poverty. The days-long reed dance is a traditional rite of womanhood with young women singing and dancing bare-chested, waving traditional clothing that includes anklets and thick, colorful tassels, some carrying mock swords and shields, and titties are shaking. It's a Vegas strip club show. Not. Anyway. No, it's a serious deal. It's a serious deal. The reed dance every year. He's got 16 wives now. It's a long way from the Copacabana to the mountains of Eswatini. Well, News 24's finance site says that business confidence has ticked up in South Africa, courtesy of the Government of National Unity. Well, I believe that to be true, but not much of an uptick. Yeah, it's begun to rise. Government of National Unity has delivered a small bump to business confidence for the first survey since May election. The bump follows a slightly larger one 3 months earlier, owing largely to the end of load shedding. However, business confidence remains weak at 38 points, meaning that only 4 in 10 business people are satisfied with business conditions. Frankly, I'm shocked that 4 are. I'd say 2. Well, Tony Leon's piece, I'm just going to mention it briefly here because I did a live stream on it last night and I did a video on it, but I'll just mention Tony Leon, the former leader of the Democratic Alliance, the man who really forged this party, which Helen Zille took over and rose to great heights. Tony Leon, and then also became ambassador to Argentina under an ANC government. He's now in private sector. Tony Leon did an op-ed and he basically calls out the hypocrisy of South Africa and all the energy focused on Gaza. Excuse me, I got to sneeze here. And nothing focused... Excuse me. All the energy focused on Gaza and no energy focused on Ethiopia, Tigray, on Sudan, which is true statement there. So anyway, it's a good op-ed, although it's a little hard to read. I'm a published author, an academic, and I had a little trouble with the English there. But Ubuntu in question, South Africa's silence on Sudan, Ethiopia's crises. And it's a fantastic, in my view, fantastic op-ed. Anyway, Eskom might be considering a second lifeline extension for Koeberg. Recently granted permission to extend the operating life of Unit 1 by 20 years. They told legislators today they might in the future apply for another operating life extension. Wow. That's interesting. So it's hoping to get similar approval for Unit 2 to run until November of 2045. South Africa's only nuclear power plant. Well, former ministers, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, the lady nobody likes, and Pandor, Naledi Pandor, are offering advice. Tyler, thank you for your subscription. Kerleboa, bye-bye donkey. Offering their services to members of government. And Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma is upset that some members of the ANC chose to take the path of self-enrichment. Listen, sweetheart, most of your party took the path of self-enrichment. And a huge portion of it took the path of race hustling and destroyed the promise of South Africa. So, take your lovely yellow outfits and go spread your garbage elsewhere. Former Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma has called on Gauteng leaders to stand for the truth and defend the gains of freedom. Defend the gains of freedom. What things are under threat in South Africa? Well, freedom of speech is, because the government has created a system in which freedom of speech is not allowed. You go to prison for your speech in South Africa. Well, but what other rights are under threat? Freedom of association? Property rights? None of that's under threat. Well, yeah, property rights are trying to steal land. Yep. Well, folks, things are looking grim for Woolies. The South African-Australian business is in trouble. Yep, used to be in America, but they bought the rights to this a long time ago, and we lost our Woolworths. They went bankrupt, as did the UK. Tough conditions in South Africa and Australia are a knock for Woolies. CEO Roy Bagnati's contract has been extended with no specified end date. Retailer Woolworths has reported lower earnings as the group faced an increasingly challenging trading environment, largely due to the macroeconomic environment. Headline earnings per share for continuing operations for 53 weeks declined 16.8%. That is not good, ladies and gentlemen. That is a huge decline. It shows you just how bad the economies are. Well, the Spar Group in South Africa is selling its European operations. Isn't this ironic? Spar, which is a Dutch mega corporation with businesses all over the world, particularly in Europe, but also in South Africa and Botswana and elsewhere. Spar, which is South Africa, is hived off of that, is its own corporation and had operations in Europe, which is where Spar comes from. Isn't that hilarious? Spar South Africa is selling its Polish business for $185 million as part of a turnaround plan, but it will need to pay $2.7 billion to recapitalize their business. Whew, it'll take a lot of money. A lot of money. Well, those nuclear power plants were built in the 1980s, if I recall correctly, so we're already 40 years old. Well, here's an op-ed, and this one indirectly talks about Ramon Kabanak, but it really talks about the DA. I think it's a fair op-ed, Business Day, but the problem is that this is something that they should say about all political parties and their staffs. But it's a fair question. Basically, the editors of Business Day are not attacking Ramon Kabanak for his comments. They say the arrival of controversial podcaster as chief of staff of the Agriculture Ministry has raised the temperature, if not the quality, of the discourse around political appointments and catered deployment. If the reports are to be believed, the individual in question, Ramon Kabanak, appears to have espoused some highly offensive and unconstitutional ideas that surely would have been flagged during a basic due diligence process. It can only mean that the minister who hired him, DA's John Steenhuisen, thinks that Kabanak's talents make the PR fallout worth it. Time will tell whether he's right. Now, that's fair. That's balanced. Yep. But the real issue here is talking about those people who are coming in where they're qualified, because the DA's asked for a waiver for several people to come into the government. So are they coming in because they're qualified? If so, why do they need waivers to come in? That's a fair question. That's a legitimate op-ed. That's actually news reporting. As I mentioned earlier, I did a video, and this is where it's from, the Africa Research Desk. This gentleman known as Mighty Jamie has says legal and policy researcher, analyst, commentator, LLM student. Okay. Anyway. Here's where he ambushes Ronaldo Jos, and thinks he's clever doing it. Thinks he's a smart guy. Yeah. He met him and asked him some questions. No, he didn't meet Ronaldo. That's a lie. He didn't meet Ronaldo. He ambushed Ronaldo. There's a difference. If you're walking through the airport and you run into somebody and you meet, or if you go see somebody because you schedule something, that's meeting somebody. Setting up an ambush for someone that didn't ask for you to come over and talk to them, that isn't interested in talking to you because you're looking for clicks, is not meeting somebody. Well, Botswana has finally announced the date of its election, October 30th, as Mokwetsi Eric Masisi seeks a second term, which he doesn't deserve. Botswana, Africa's longest democracy, will hold its general election on October 30th. It's not Africa's longest democracy. That's nonsense. Liberia has been a democracy for well over a century. The government's been overthrown back and forth. I suppose they want to say it's Africa's longest unbroken democracy. That would be fair. 1966, maybe that's legitimate. In a public address, Masisi said Botswana will continue its long-standing principle of holding regular elections. His ruling BDP party has been in power since independence in 1966. He urged voters to turn out in large numbers. He got a target of 80%. The Independent Electoral Commission registered only 63% of eligible voters. So it seems impossible to get 80% of the electorate body out when only 63% are registered to vote. That would be 115% attendance. Ugandan opposition leader Bobby Wine was injured when struck by a smoke grenade thrown by law enforcement as they harassed demonstrators in Uganda. Authorities have in the past accused Bobby of trying to incite rioting and have charged him with multiple criminal offenses, none of which are genuine. Uganda's main opposition leader Bobby Wine has been injured apparently after being hit in the leg with a tear gas canister during a protest near Kampala. He posted a video posted on social media after Tuesday's incident in Bulindo showed him surrounded by supporters before tear gas was fired and he appeared to be hit in the leg. Street confrontations between Wine, a popular singer whose real name is Robert Kayagalonga Sensetamu, his supporters and the police have frequently led to violence because the police start hitting them, shooting them, and beating them. They don't start the violence. It's the police. Even when they have licensed demonstrations, the police behave in a fascist totalitarian manner. Dozens killed in Boko Haram attack on a village in northeastern Nigeria, and the misery continues for Nigerians. Suspected Boko Haram fighters attacked Mafa village in northeastern Nigeria, killing at least 81 people. The attack was reportedly in retaliation for the killing of 2 Boko Haram fighters by local vigilantes. So they came and killed 81 people because vigilantes killed those people. Wow. This is painful. Well, Algeria has joined the BRICS Development Bank, the new development bank. They've been approved for membership in the BRICS New Development Bank. The decision was taken on Saturday, as announced by the New Development Bank chief, Dilma Rousseff, at a meeting in Cape Town. By joining this important development institution, the financial arm of the BRICS group, Algeria is taking a major step in its process to integration into the global financial system, the Algerian minister said. Well, this is not the financial arm of the BRICS group. That's not true. The New Development Bank is not a bank where people can do banks and do settlements for business. No, it's a development bank, like the African Development Bank. So let's not call it the financial arm of BRICS. BRICS doesn't exist. Algeria has finally set its voting date, too, this weekend. Well, they said a long time ago. But they're voting this weekend, and the opposition has been silenced. President Abdelmajid Tebboune, standing as an independent, seeks re-election in a three-way presidential race. His administration has tightened rules on speech and political activism, and opposition figures and journalists have been jailed or banned from publishing anything. In April, a new penal code criminalized new types of speech and stiffened penalties for existing offenses, including defaming state institutions, disclosing information that threatens security or harms the image of the army or security forces, and another fascist totalitarian state on the march. Fascism, totalitarianism, and the end of personal liberties is everywhere on the planet. Brazil, the USA, the European Union, South Africa, Algeria, Tunisia. Do I need to continue? It's a scary world out there, folks. Well, the United States has charged Hamas's leader Sinwar for his terrorist actions that go back many years. Strange that the Biden regime holds this news and this action from a indictment that was handed down in February until less than 60 days before the effort to steal another election here in America. Clearly an election ploy. U.S. charges Hamas leader over 7 October attack in Israel. Now, that occurred a year ago, and we're just now charging him? Justice Department said it was indicting 6 Hamas members with 7 charges, including the murder of dozens of U.S. citizens, 43 to be exact, conspiracy to finance terrorism, and use of weapons of mass destruction. This was a sealed indictment from February of this year. They claim they sealed it because they had to go get the people. We haven't gotten anybody, so this is all just BS. It was all done to time this for Biden's reelection, but of course, Creepy Joe dropped out, so that's not going to happen. Well, Ukraine foreign minister tenders his resignation as Volodymyr Zelensky shakes up his cabinet of criminals. Yep, at least reshuffle after a Russian missile kills 7 people. Ukraine's foreign minister Dmytro Kuleba became the first top official to tender his resignation today ahead of an expected major government reshuffle as yet another wave of Russian attacks killed at least 7 people, including a child. As Ukraine's top diplomat, he has been a prominent fixture in Zelensky's administration and one of the most public-facing, especially dealing with overseas officials. He was seen as a capable politician and a safe pair of hands. One of the strongest members of Zelensky's cabinet. His offer to resign comes ahead of an expected visit by Sleepy Joe, Creepy Joe, this month to Ukraine. Well, here it comes, the big shakeup in Ukraine. Kyiv's top diplomat has resigned, as I said. There he is. More than half the current cabinet could be replaced, according to a senior lawmaker. That's not him. That is him. Different angle. Well, after Vladimir Putin pays a visit to Mongolia, in dodging arrest, the Kremlin says no one can hold Russia back. There was more than a whiff of smug self-satisfaction from the Kremlin on Wednesday after President Vladimir Putin's trip to Mongolia at the start of the week went without a hitch. Putin was given the red carpet treatment, met his Mongolian counterpart, and talked trade ties and bilateral relations. He wasn't arrested in the process. Well, of course he wasn't arrested. As a member of the International Criminal Court, Mongolia had a duty to arrest and detain Putin as he landed Mongolian soil Monday night. Since March 2023, he's the subject of an ICC international arrest warrant on war crimes charges. And for the record, once again, the ICC has no jurisdiction over Vladimir Putin. The offense they claim he committed occurred in a country not a signatory to the Rome Statute, not a member of the ICC, Ukraine. And it was committed, if it's committed, by a citizen of a state that's also not a signatory, Russia. And if anyone owes anyone responsibility for arresting someone, that would be the government of South Africa in 2015 when Omar Bashir visited South Africa and the ICC told South Africa to arrest him for extradition. They failed. No consequences. There'll be no consequences for Mongolia here. Everybody wants their minerals. Well, deregulation, dishonesty, and blaming the conservative government for the failure of local officials and for corrupt contractors is what the report comes out from UK. The Grenfell fire. A damning final report into Britain's worst residential fire since World War II blamed a litany of cost-cutting, dishonest sales practices, and lax regulation for the blaze that killed 72 people. None of them had to die. 7 years after flames engulfed Grenville Tower, a public housing block in West London, killing 72 people, a public inquiry on Wednesday blamed unscrupulous manufacturers, cost-cutting, and reckless deregulation for the disaster. The 1,671-page final report laid out a litany of corner-cutting, dishonest sales practices, incompetence, and lax regulation, which led to the tower being wrapped in low-cost flammable cladding, which, after it caught fire, quickly turned the building into an inferno. I didn't mention the conditions people lived in the building, the number of people living illicitly in the building, the overcrowding the building. That wasn't a role? Of course it was. Well, Starlink backs down and cowardly gives in to the fascist in Brazil, another fascist totalitarian state. Starlink complies with Brazilian court order and blocks access to X after they said they wouldn't do it. Elon Musk's Starlink agreed to block X Twitter in Brazil Tuesday, just one day after they said they would not do it. In a statement said on Tuesday, Starlink blasted the Supreme Court's ruling that blocked access to X, but the company said it would follow the order anyway. Regardless of the illegal treatment of Starlink and freezing our assets, we are complying with the order to block access to X in Brazil. They went on to pursue all legal avenues to overturn the court's ruling blocking the social media platform. Yep, they have 250,000 subscribers to Starlink in Brazil. Not looking good there. Well, Tim Sheehy was recorded using racist stereotypes about Native Americans. Impolite, disrespectful, rude. Yeah, racist? I don't think so. But anyway, Republican Senate candidate in Montana, Mr. Sheehy, a Republican, is nominated for the Senate, where indigenous residents make up 6% of the population. There's no such thing as indigenous. Their ancestors migrated here just like mine did. They're not indigenous. There were no Homo sapiens on this continent when their ancestors arrived here. Just giant sloths and woolly mammoths. No Homo sapiens. Not indigenous. Not indigenous. You want to call them First Nations? Fine. They're not indigenous. Tim Sheehy, a Republican nominee for U.S. Senate, made comments perpetuating racist stereotypes about Native Americans during private fundraisers last year, according to a recording of the events published by a local news outlet. In one recording, Mr. Sheehy, a cattle rancher and businessman, can be heard saying that he had participated in roping and branding cattle on the Crow Reservation in southeastern Montana, and that it was a great way to bond with all the Indians out there while they were drunk at 8 a.m. Another clip, he said he had ridden a cow in a crow parade and that they'll let you know whether they like you or not. There's a Coors Light cans flying by your head. That's not racist. That second one's not even a problem. That's, people throw beer cans at you. So you can't say that? People, they're just reading things into things. It's rude, especially the first one, but racist? They're desperate for something to stop Sheehy from getting into the Senate. But not things he should be saying. U.S. Steel is warned of plant closures if the deal with Nippon Steel falls through. Company says it might move headquarters out of Pittsburgh if Nippon Steel can't complete the $14.1 billion purchase. Wow. Now there's a threat. CEO David Burritt said the nearly $3 billion that Japan-based Nippon Steel has pledged to invest in the older mills is critical to keeping them competitive and maintaining workers' jobs. We wouldn't do that if the deal falls through. I don't have the money. Wow. Burritt's dour outlook for the storied steelmaker came after Democratic presidential lunatic Kamala Harris said Monday that U.S. Steel should remain domestically owned and operated. President Biden, Republican presidential nominee Trump, and several members of Congress have similarly lined up against the $14.1 billion deal. And all of them are, of course, wrong, including Trump. U.S. Steel shares fell 6% on Tuesday. Wow. So they're going to drive it out of business before we even get a decision. Well, the United States is close to giving the criminals in Kiev long-range missiles so they can murder Russians outside of Ukraine. The U.S. is close to an agreement to give Ukraine long-range cruise missiles that could reach deep into Russia, but Kiev would need to wait several months as the U.S. works through technical issues ahead of any shipment. Well, then we'll make sure that that doesn't happen by electing Donald Trump. What a bunch of nonsense. He uses cruise missiles against anybody. Well, democracy with everything but a choice. So many down-ballot elections in U.S. elections, you have one or no candidates. I ran for judge of elections as an independent candidate because not a single Democrat or Republican was on the ballot. Absolutely ridiculous. Not a single person stepped forward to do something. Now, it's not a job I get paid for. I get paid on the day of it. It's just make a little bit of money, but it's not a job. It's just a function. And people are not running for office or they're running unopposed. Now, the New York Times would have us believe it's mostly Democrats. That's a lie. I see all over the place that there are no Republicans running because the Democrats are entrenched, particularly in California, places like Illinois. But a new analysis of American elections finds that half of all races for partisan offices, a candidate runs unopposed. Democrats are the biggest no-shows. Well, it depends on where you're at there, friends. All right. This November, voters in rural Perry County, Missouri will face a ballot with candidates for a bevy of local offices, state senator, state representative, and circuit judge, 2 commissioners, sheriff, and many more. What they won't face is a choice. Each of the 17 down-ballot races in Perry County has only one candidate. Just south, Cape Girardeau County fares only slightly better. 3 of the 12 races have 2 candidates. That's not much of a choice. By contrast, in a Republican primary this year, there were 5 of us running for office. 5 running for office. And if it wasn't for the corrupt nature of the Republican Party here in York County, Pennsylvania, we might have had a different outcome. I'm not saying I would have won, but a candidate came in second probably could have won. But the complicit, underhanded, dirty tactics of the Republican Party who lied to the rest of us. But 5 of us ran for office. 5 people stepped forward to do this. Yeah, so anyway, that's here. Well, Harris's way forward includes unpopular Bidenomics and government's bigger role. Vice President Kamala Harris has positioned herself as a change candidate, but has refused to separate herself from Biden's failed economic agenda. She promoted a new way forward as part of her presidential campaign, investing in America. Investing in what? With what? What have you done? Nothing. You were in the Senate. You've been in vice president for 3 years. Well, folks, NVIDIA took a big hit. The single largest ever one-day loss in capitalization. Wow. Artificial intelligence chip maker, which that's not really what they are. They are a video card maker. They're becoming AI maker. NVIDIA shares dropped 10%, hitting global markets. The Financial Times stock exchange 100 index dropped 0.76% because of NVIDIA. Wow. Shares of NVIDIA, the leading AI chip maker, dropped 10%, sparked by investor concerns over U.S. economy and the future of artificial intelligence. This decline wiped out $279 billion from the company's market value. Let me put this in perspective. $279 billion is 68% of South Africa's annual GDP. The entire country, $279 billion wiped out in one day. Wow. Can you talk about an overpriced stock? NVIDIA is worth $3 trillion. Not anymore. It'll come back. The losses came after NVIDIA was sold heavily overnight as investors reacted to concerns about growth in the AI sector, as well as U.S. economic growth. Once again, the turgid American economy is an anchor on economic growth and stock prospects. But they won't tell you that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, another scumbag Democrat has betrayed this country and committed treason, selling us down the road. We can run through the list of them like Barbara Boxer, a paid foreign agent for the Chinese. We can talk about Eric Swalwell, a member of Congress, who's knocking boots and banging Fang Fang, a Chinese spy. We can go through the whole list, the laundry list of the Biden crime family, with selling us down the river to Romania, to Ukraine, to China, selling out America. We've got Bob Menendez taking gold bullion from Egyptian spies to disclose American secrets and compromise the lives of our sailors, Marines, and Army personnel in the Middle East. Yeah, that's what's going on here. Democrats. Now, that doesn't mean they have a monopoly on it. There are Republicans who betray America, but it seems like more often than not, the people who betray America and sell us out to the communists are Democrats. Bill Clinton, the Clinton crime family. Yeah. Obama. Yeah. One thing I haven't said about them is crime family because we have no evidence of them, but certainly the Clinton crime family, we know what they did selling weapons off to the Chinese illicitly and illegally back in the 1990s. But now Linda's son, former Kathy Hochul, New York Democratic governor, accused of scheming to advance interest of China. Linda's son, a former aide to New York Governor Kathy Hochul, Demon Rat, New York, schemed to advance the interest of China while working in the New York State government. Well, you don't say. The indictment charged his son with failure to register as a foreign agent, visa fraud, alien smuggling, and money laundering conspiracy. Her husband, Christopher Hu, allegedly financed the transfer of millions of dollars in kickbacks for personal gain. Who? Christopher Hu. That's who. Who's on first? Christopher Hu. Wow. So another Democrat sells the country down the river. Yep. Hey, would it be fun to do our own little election map? What do you guys think? Make my map? Should I do that? I hadn't thought about that. All right. So we'll do that in a minute. Well, after we take a look and see what people got to say. That's be the last thing we do after we get back here. All right. So what are we at? With 73 people, 72 likes. Come on, folks. Hit that like button. Piece of cake. Who's not here?
That was easy.
Is Erica here? I haven't seen Erica in the chat. Maybe I missed her. Let me go over and see who's here, and who's who in the zoo today. All right, fellow simians, let's get on to this. We're not simians, are we? Anyway, saw all this. And Pablo Charlie is going on about something. Okay. Chris, okay, I saw that. Watch that. I think the Alabama had a better social club in Schuylkill City. The AL. Who's AL? Mike. And Pablo points out to me that he did it for publicity stunt. He did. And I did it for facts and genuine analysis. Megyn Kelly has done a good job on Tim Walz. Okay, I didn't see that. Megyn Kelly is becoming trustworthy again. She was a total fraud as a so-called journalist at Fox News, a political activist who tried to undermine the candidacy of Donald Trump with her arrogant, smarmy, disrespectful debate performance. I didn't trust her, and I still don't trust her fully. She's tried to reinvent herself as a conservative now, and it's working. Even I'm starting to listen to some of the stuff that Megyn Kelly has to say, but that's such a betrayal. It takes a long time. It's been 8 years, but it takes a while to forgive that. George Meyering was a house friend of my father. He is such a tip-top soldier person. Thank you, Leah, for sharing that. Yep, appreciate that. Yeah, what's with a free state? Well, there's no adult supervision. Ace Magashule was the biggest likely accused criminal. I have to say accused because he's not convicted. Accused criminal there. Mighty Jamie, yep, wrong to attack Ronaldo. I don't know the rules, Christo, by the airports. Maybe, hopefully you were right. All right. Listen to something today. This person got 15 years for fraud and qualification. Yeah, no, that was yesterday, Val. Yeah, that's crazy. Did I cover that story yesterday? I think I covered it, but I maybe I didn't. I want to talk about how someone who submits fraudulent qualifications gets 15 years in prison, getting banged in the backside and the bum, and rapists and murderers get nothing. They get out. It's crazy. Politically correct and woke, untalented political commenter. He did this publicity stunt. Yep, you're right, Pablo Charlie. Okay. Dinner John Schlope. It's an IT. What's an IT? People welcome to the new month back from KZN. Belito is rocking. Loads of improvements going on. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. With a more accountable ANC government down there and a coalition, maybe that's what's going on. Richard Kuhn says, even yes, the Chinese copied a patent developed by my dad and myself, but then it was also directly copied by Belgium and France. Is the only patent English. Okay, so there's industrial espionage going all over the world. Never said it wasn't, but thank you for sharing that, Richard. That's unfortunate. What was the patent? Was it okay? Who pays for the engagement? The Eswatini. Actually, it's probably been paid for by Ndlovu Sugar because they're the ones that produce the most money for the kingdom there. Everything pointing due south, okay? 16 wives times 4 urchins. Lots of tax dollars. Yep. King Mswati got ambitions in the clan of Uncle Jake's Tin Pot Empire. Exactly, Richard. He's marrying into the Zuma royal family. Mr. Puddish is back. Bless you. That must have been when I sneezed a little while ago. Thank you for that. Or I think you're way behind. A long time ago I sneezed. There are 2 Kubergs. Well, there are 2 reactors at Kuberg. There aren't 2 Kubergs. There's 2 reactors. What's the age limit? Debbie, I know the age limit of nuclear power plants, but normally it's like 40 years of those things, but we're past that. Freedom of association is almost enforced as freedom of disassociation, I think it says Richard. Okay? Just shows you the effects media has a ripple effect on everyone's success. Exactly. How can anyone question Rahman's qualifications when the entire ANC is incompetent? Well, I mean, who's questioning Rahman's qualifications? Oh, you mean because the article I read? Well, yeah, they are questioning his qualifications. They're welcome to question them, but then he can simply refute it by producing evidence. It's simple. I mean, these idiots say that, what do I know about Africa? Well, publish documents, publish articles. You can go listen to my lectures. Some of them are online. You can look at my CV. Here you go. There's evidence there. What a butthole with no manners, pure harassment. Jamie needs a good lesson as not a man. Yeah, no, got you, Jamie. Yep. I didn't want to use this. I wanted to use the content. It would have been much better for the video, but I don't want to be accused of a copyright violation, so I didn't take his content. And I don't know him, so I couldn't ask him if I could use it. Plus, I doubt he would let me use it if I was going to expose him. Mark says, seems 2 dead, 4 injured in the school shooting in Winder, Georgia. Okay, didn't see that, Mark. Flip-flop, spineless. Democratic states and government agencies ordered to buff up their image and work product pre-election. Just look at the roadway cleanup. Yeah, they haven't been cleaning the roads in southeast Pennsylvania in 3 years, and suddenly they're cleaning the roads. So you have Musk blocking Musk. Exactly. That's exactly right, Mike. Labels for groups are always conveniently always abused. Okay. Learn to duck, dodge beer cans, says Dylan. Yeah, exactly. What else we got here? VP Comrade Kamala had years to learn from USA president and did as much work as she did as a prosecutor. Learned nothing. Your commander needs to learn to adapt. Yep. Yeah, Slippery Pickle says, I bet the economic plan is whatever the banksters tell her. I think you're right. Pablo says, Trumponomics, 110 billion deal with totaling 350 billion in 10 years. I have no idea what you're talking about. With Saudi Arabia. What are you talking about? What deal did he do with Saudi Arabia? It seems like every politician has family influence investment club lining their pockets. Yep. Okay. Patrick's here. Great interview yesterday with Ernst and Yus. Great to hear. Sense for once, in fact. I heard it. I was there. I've interviewed Yus before. He agreed to come on the program yesterday. They announced on our flight at the airport, please do not take photos of the air hostess and passengers unless you've asked for their permission. That's not unreasonable, but it's not necessary. You're in public. You're in public. Let's see what else. So we can choose either the Zarnomics. I don't know what you're talking about there. Okay, is Shireen here? Hey, Doc, haven't seen you in a while. Didn't see your comments there. Pablo Charlie says the arms deal. What about the arms deal? Oh, we sold arms to Saudi Arabia? That's no surprise. We're the major supplier of arms and have been for decades to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. That relationship goes back to the 1930s. Before the Second World War, the U.S. government forged a relationship with the Saudi royal family, and we've supported them. The only reason there is a Saudi royal family is because we put troops in Kuwait, including me, in 1990 to ensure that Saddam Hussein didn't come across the border and threaten their sovereignty. That's no surprise there. And we sell weapons to Saudi Arabia. Big whoop. Good deal. That's good business. The good news is that the Saudis have never used them to harm any of their neighbors except in self-defense when they were fighting against Iraq back in that first Gulf War. Yep. Arc Persistence says Kuburg. There's no Kuburg nuclear power plant in Pretoria. Or are you saying there's two geographic places called Kuburg? Well, okay, that's fine. There's a lot of places called something Fontaine. There's a lot of clip Fontaines in South Africa. Is that what you're saying? You got to be... Arc Precision. For someone whose name says precision, you're very imprecise. That's what Pablo Charlie meant. It was good business. Okay, again, I'm just trying to read what you guys say in the chat. Can't get all of it. Well, let me take a look at what's been happening over here. Let's see what's going on. 75 people currently here. Thanks. On a Wednesday, my busy day, and made even busier this morning by the need to make a video, which I did. So let me see what that's doing now. It says it's approaching 1900. Let me see what that figure is. It is 1900, so that's in 2 hours. So that's not great, but it's okay. All right, so the one with Ronaldo, how many dislikes have I got? No dislikes? That's hard to believe. Let me refresh this page. I got it by now. Have some black supremacists and white liberals complaining. No, not yet. 157 likes, though. Wow. 157 likes out of 850 views. That's a high percentage. Okay. Yep. Not a lot of new comments here, so let me look at the most recent top, newest. Okay. How pathetic human race has become. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It said that the guy is about as plausible as a prostitute saying they're a virgin. That's funny. Sadly, I had to watch that video. Can't stand arrogant pricks. I hope Ronaldo sues him. Well, I don't know if there's anything to sue there. Don't know if there's anything to sue there. But yeah, but maybe there's a violation of airport safety protocols. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, but his video probably has tens of thousands of views already, and mine has just a handful. So whatever. It's YouTube. We're not doing this for views. And YouTube is, once again, as always, a day or more behind on their revenue. I was trying to see if we were making revenue this month. Just taking a quick peek there. Last month we did better than the previous month, but still only 40% of what we did in June, which is, June actually was a good month paying for some things here. If that kept up every month, that'd be great. Help me pay my taxes. We're working for the government. I'm working for the government. Everybody is working for the weekend. Nope, I work 7 days a week, not for the weekend. Anyway, the U.S. allowed camels on the battleship when they forged a relationship with the House of Saud. Yes, that is correct. The battleship was before aircraft carriers. Yep. No, the relationship goes back a long way. And it's so funny because the Democrats are always around, oh, the Bushes, the Bushes. This is not the Bushes. The Bushes didn't forge that relationship. Roosevelt formed that relationship in the 1930s. Franklin Roosevelt, King Franklin, their favorite czar. He's the one that forged that relationship with the Saudis. In the 1930s, the Democrats did that. Oh, gotcha, Arc Precision. Another nuclear plant in Pretoria, Coburg, and Western Cape. We have. Gotcha. Thank you for that, Arctic Priest. Well, now your precision is most welcome. Thank you. It's clear now. Yeah. No. Anyway, the first chief of the South African National Defense Force has passed away at the age of 83, if I'm not mistaken. 83. Just reminds us that life is fleeting. Make the most of it, folks. And last night I was watching on Netflix a special that they did. I still have my Netflix subscription. I haven't canceled it yet. A special they did on Arnold Schwarzenegger. And very good, well done, very professional. And in it, I didn't know this, but we find out that Arnold's brother, his older brother, died in a traffic accident. He ran into a telephone pole because he was drunk. It's 25 years of age. Wow. That's crazy. Never had a chance to leave his mark on the planet. It's a shame. I don't know if he had kids by that age or not. He's got descendants. But it's a good series. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Netflix, but this is a very well done series. That and some of the true crime ones are really well done. Yep. I applaud Trump because he signed 100. Okay, there you go. Gotcha. Okay, that's clear. Thank you. That helps. I have no idea what Malcolm's trying to type because they keep changing his text. That's pretty funny. Not for Malcolm, though. I'm sure that's frustrating for him to say the least. Wow, that's pretty crazy, though. But they're going back and forth. Lex Friedman Trump interview was interesting. Don't know who Lex Friedman is. I haven't seen any Trump interviews. Boy, people spend a lot of time following Trump. I don't even know about these things. Trump has given some interviews to some very unknown podcasters. It's crazy. Biden banned arms sales to Saudi Arabia for 3 years. Gotcha. Yeah, anyway. So, well, folks, things are changing. It's September, and summer's coming to an end here in the Northern Hemisphere. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous weather the past couple days here in central Pennsylvania. And we're coming to the end of summer, and that'll be it. We'll be headed into the winter months. South Africa and the Southern Hemisphere moving into spring. And I know a lot of folks are excited about that, but we just had snow recently. Mark follows Friedman. I don't know who Friedman is. Never heard him. It's an odd way to spell Friedman, too. Usually an E is in there. So anyway, but people can spell names any way they want. My name has been spelled many ways. Wyatt is spelled W-Y-A-T-T, the most common spelling. W-Y-O-T-T, W-I-A-T-T. So anyway, W-Y-O-N-T, Wyatt. Yeah, so it's the same name, and it's spelled multiple ways. But the most common is the way that mine is spelled. And I like it. It's kind of cool. W-Y-A-T-T. It's just 5 letters. Boom, 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 boom. It makes for my initials be pretty cool. William Martin Wyatt, W-M-W. Pretty cool stuff. Chris without a K. That's my nickname, Chris. That's not my real name. It's not my real name. Anyway, what's going on with Pilindaba? What are you guys talking about? What is that all about there, Garrett? Anyway, let's take a look and see if something new has popped up. I heard the shooting in Georgia. Let me see if something come up on that very quickly. Shooting in Georgia. Shooting in Georgia. There it is. Appalachia High School lockdown after reports of gunfire. This happened in the last few minutes. Washington Post. Okay. Casualties reported in Appalachia High School shooting in Georgia. Suspect is in custody following a shooting. Shooting took place at the high school in Barrow County, 35 miles northeast of Atlanta. That's a beautiful place, by the way, northeast of Atlanta. We urge, especially north, urge anyone to stay clear while authorities investigate, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation said. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens wrote on social media that his prayers are with the high school students. Why? You have nothing to do with, that's 35 miles away. Okay. President Biden's been briefed. I mean, they woke him up. Governor Brian Kemp posted on social media he sent all available state resources to the school. Okay. That's not really helping me there. It's not much of a story. Let's get back here. Live updates, CNN. We'll go to the CNN one. The Guardian is covering it. Well, of course, the Guardian has a U.S. presence, so that's fair enough. They can do that. At least 4 killed in the Georgia high school shooting, not 2 now. Wow. At least 4 people believed have been killed and approximately 30 more were injured in the shooting. Good Lord. It's unclear how many of the injuries were from gunshot wounds. Suspect is a student age in custody, but it's unclear if the person actually attends the school. All schools in the district were placed in lockdown and police were sent out in abundance of caution in all district high schools. Wow. 6 minutes ago, authorities are currently in process of reunifying students with their parents after the lockdown. Multiple injuries, high school shooting. Barrow County, Georgia Sheriff said multiple people were wounded. And Sheriff Judd Smith said the investigation of shooting is very, very fluid. Wow. Appalachia High School. Shortly before 11:30 a.m., the school told Fox News the school had been cleared and students were being released to their families. So it must have occurred. Active shooter was at 10:30 when it took place. And they got people out of there just an hour later. That's amazing. The FBI and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation have confirmed they responded to the shooting and will be involved in the investigation. Why is the FBI involved? What does the FBI have to do with the school shooting? It's not a federal crime. Why is the FBI has other things to do, like, fabricate information about Donald Trump to set him up and put, top secret document covers on documents that aren't even classified. That's what the FBI has to do. Shouldn't they be doing that? According to U.S. News and World Report, there are 1,900 students enrolled at the school. It's one of 2 high schools in the Barrow County Public School District. Yep. Wow. So there you go. There you go. Breaking story. Thanks for heads up on that. Things happen while I'm on here, so I can't always know what they are until after I get off, unless somebody tells me. So I do appreciate the hints and tips that people give while we're doing the news, even after we finish for conversation. Yep. Biden administration to accuse Russia of sustained effort to influence the elections. We don't need that. We're seeing that Americans are doing it. Fake billboards, advertisements in the city of Philadelphia claiming that the Philadelphia Eagles endorsed Kamala Harris. The Biden regime plans to accuse Russia of a sustained effort to influence the election by using Kremlin-run media and other platforms to target U.S. voters with disinformation, kind of like the Kamala Harris campaign. Fleshman says, autumn is nearly upon us up here now, tidying up the garden. Expect Christmas stuff in the shop soon. Yeah, we already have Halloween stuff up. It's August. Well, no, it's September now, but they already have Halloween stuff. I was in the dollar store looking for some sweets, and it's full of Halloween crap. What is this insane session with school shooting? Just off yourself. Yeah, I agree. Please tell again for new people why Chris is not William. I like the story plenty. Okay, Ark, I can do that. You want the whole story? I can tell you the whole story. Okay. Nuclear research field at Harpysport Dam. Oh, thank you. I was wondering why you kept talking about it, though, Garrett. I mean, you keep mentioning it. Yeah, so I'll tell that story in just a moment. Exactly, Fleshin. What's this? Produced her to make the nukes, but they were not constructed there. Other isotopes. Okay, all right. Guys, give them the inside skinny about South Africa's nuclear weapons program. All right, so for those who know me, for those who follow, Chris is not actually my name. Okay. But you're like, wait a second. That's what your campaign material says. You're running for office as Chris Wyatt. What is that? Fraud? No. When you run for office, you can use any affectation that you like, or appellation, not affectation, any appellation that you like. You can call yourself whatever you want when you run for office. You fill the paperwork out with your legal name, but you put down what your candidate name is. So, some people, their name is Charles Wyatt. Someone calls him Chip, or Richard, and they're called Dick. So Dick Durbin. But that Dick is not your legal name, but you have to be something people recognize. So people know me as Chris Wyatt, and so they have hence the Chris. And this is really cool. I like how they did that. See the Wyatt, and then they've got the capitalized Wyatt or W, and all the rest is lowercase, and then the Chris is cradled between the W and the T. If you look closely at that, my name is got boundaries with the W and with the T on there. That's brilliant. This is really good, really good thing. I love it. I'm gonna have to get that made. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, in fact, I ought to use that now and make a new banner for my channel. But what I was trying to say is, so the Chris thing comes about in the following way. So my grandfather didn't like my father. I long suspected it had something to do with Well, that would not come out of William. It would have been Bill, Willie, Will, Willem, something like that. But never anything like that. So they didn't get along. And I long suspected, without knowing or confirming, that my father was not liked by my maternal grandfather because he was 30 when I was born. My mother was 19. She just turned 19 when I was born. So I suspect that's what it had something to do with, robbing the cradle sort of thing. Who knows? Or maybe my father was just dodgy and my grandfather didn't like him. He was kind of a dodgy guy too. He used to beat this living crap out of his spouse and his kids. He was a nasty piece of shit. Anyway, but I barely knew him. Anyway, so I was the first child or grandchild born in a hospital. Everyone had been delivered at home. This is up into the 1960s. And so they went to Bon Secure Hospital, which is in a really dodgy part of Baltimore, folks. I don't know if it was dodgy in 1964, but sure as hell is dodgy in 2024. Very scary part of Baltimore to be in. Bon Secure, well, it's French, it'll be Bon Secours, but it's Bon Secure is what we say in English. Anyway, so it means good rest, good stay over. Anyway, so I was at the hospital in mama's womb, and my father and my grandfather, apparently this, obviously, I don't know, I was an infant inside the womb. They were talking and they were debating about what to name me, and my grandfather said, "What are you talking about? This is easy. If it's a boy, it's Chris. If it's a girl, it's Chris. We just spell girl with a K and the boy with a C, and that's what we'll call the child." So my father ran off and filled out the certificate of live birth, and he put down William Martin Wyatt. And actually, he kind of screwed up. He put down William Martin Grimes Wyatt and hyphenated my last name, which is not what my name is. He just thought he was being clever because his middle name is Grimes. So he put it in, like, changed my name. Well, I don't believe in hyphenated names, so I fixed that first chance I had. Anyway, because his last name wasn't Grimes Wyatt. So he later changed this to that. But anyway, so he filled out the certificate of live birth and said William Martin. I don't know where the hell the Martin came from. They're being called Marty. Anyway, so my grandfather called me Chris. And my father filled out a certificate. Well, my grandfather won the war. My father may have won the battle with a birth certificate. My grandfather won the war. And the reason my grandfather won the war is because I was born on December 25th, Christmas Day. And there you have the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey once said. The rest of the story. The end is nigh. They're bickering about who does wheelies. What? Yeah, so they... Oh, excuse me. So, was it Arc Precision who wanted that story? Do you like it? Well, I'm sure I didn't feel like a gift at 6:30 in the morning when I popped out. I bet my mom was relieved that she was not carrying that burden anymore, but I don't know if I was a gift. Did the Magi bring me? My mom got gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and Chris. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Anyway, that's what happened. So that's where the Chris comes from. So yeah, my mother for Christmas got gold, frankincense, myrrh, and Chris. And most Americans are like, what the hell is myrrh? It sounds like something you don't want to get. Frankincense sounds like something you put on your coffee. Have a latte with frankincense. You don't want to do that. It comes from a bush in the Middle East. Thanks again. 30 December. By the way, good they did not call me New Year. Yeah, I'm with you. Well, then you've got me beat, Arc Precision. You are literally the last baby boomer, first Gen Xer. I am technically I'm in that group because, December 25th. January 1st, 1965 is the end date. December 31st is the end date for the baby boomer boom, the post-war boom from 1945 until 1964, December 31st. So anyone that falls in December 1964 is considered a baby boomer, but also often lumped in with Gen Xers. So take it whichever way you want. I'm the youngest of the baby boomers, although it looks like Arc Precision's got me beat by a week. Yeah, my mom was unburdened by what was carried. That's right. That's right. She was unburdened by what was carried. That's funny. Good one, Garrett. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah. And anyway, so youngest of the baby boomers. Excuse me. Oldest of the Gen Xers. There you go. There I got you beat. So Steve Hofmeyer is an old man. He's got me beat. He's already 60. I'm not there. Kamala Harris will be 60 in a few days, or she already was. She's got me beat. So anyway, all right, folks, this has been fun. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. If you haven't seen my videos, I got a couple up there. I'm sure most people here have probably seen it, but the one of Ronaldo is out there. That's about Mighty Jamie going out and going after Ronaldo. So you can see that one. Also, I did one on Hamas leader last night. It has barely any views. And then one about Tony Leon yesterday, which is still getting a few views, but not a lot. It's kind of, it's died off. Anyway, it's a shame because it was a pretty good one, I thought. The IOL focused on Roman. That one's, how's it doing? It's not doing so well now. It's really tapering off, but it got over 8,000 views, so thanks for that. Anyway, and people are watching the ads. Thanks. It takes a lot of views to get any money, but that one with Roman got $4.02 in ad revenue. That's nice. George says, good night. Okay. I'm an avid Colonel Chris supporter, but I always get attacked in my comments for expressing my opinions and views in a respectful manner. Pablo Charlie, I don't think that's accurate that you always get attacked. You often look for attention and post the same comments over and over again, which kind of annoys people. So consider not doing that. That might ease up the things. Also, you tend to strike personally at people when they ask you legitimate questions or they offer legitimate feedback. I'm not saying you haven't been attacked in the chat. I'm just saying that you've often provoked people to attack you by, whether you intended to or not, attacking others. So just, chill. It's okay. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. In 4 days, Vilma is turning 41. Well, congratulations, young lady. I wish I was 41. 41. Yeah, no, Garrett, I thought that was great. Seamus didn't like it. He commented, he says the video was annoying. It bothered him, but I thought it was pretty good. Anyway, but that's just my opinion. I'm the content creator. I'm not the consumer. So you guys have to decide as consumers. Anyway, right. Cheers. We'll catch y'all later. Have a good evening. I've got radio show tonight, and I will be broadcasting it on at Real Chris Wyatt. I'm going to start doing that from now on. So cool beans. So if you want to watch it on YouTube, you should be able to watch the event tonight on at Real Chris Wyatt. That'll be cool. I'm going to try to do that tonight. So, all right. Charles, thanks. You guys take care. Haven't done it in 48 hours. Still got attacked if I have amnesia. Okay, Pablo, I didn't see, man. I didn't see. But you have done the post the same thing in 48 hours. You have. You did it yesterday. Anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Anyway, so we'll see you guys later on. Have a good evening. If you can catch me tonight on WSMN, you're welcome to do that. We'll talk about the election and other things. So cool beans. Cheers, everybody. God bless. And I don't know why the software keeps crashing, but at least it's working for now. Bye-bye.